Good evening. Here we are back on a Tuesday, eagerly waiting for Week 12 to finish with the Ravens and Steelers matchup being moved for a third time again from, what was supposed to be Thanksgiving on Thursday, got switched to Sunday, and now it got switched, or I guess it got switched to Tuesday, and now it's getting switched back to Wednesday, so tomorrow. But today, hey, we're going to talk about a couple of different things that happened from football that we got to watch on Sunday as well as yesterday with that Monday Night Football game. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, let's get started with the matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is a pretty decent game for the most part. Going into that fourth quarter, the Panthers had the lead 21-10, and it kind of felt like, the Vikings just might lose this game for the second week in a row. Well, that wasn't the case as the Vikings fought and came back to win 28-27 thanks to a touchdown from Chad Beebe, who redeemed himself after muffing a punt, which gave the Panthers the ball back, which led to a field goal to make the game 27-21. Now, I find it kind of ironic as the Vikings were right there. I said our luck because I'm being from Minnesota. That's kind of my fan base, but with this show, I'm completely unbiased. I'll go with any team. But I said, they're going to muff this punt, and it's going to lead to something. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. But Chad, he redeemed himself, for that game-winning touchdown. Now, Kirk Cousins actually looked really solid Sunday against a secondary that hasn't been that great this season. Yesterday, Cousins went 34 for 45 with 307 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. And was only sacked twice, which for the Vikings offensive line is pretty good. Another thing to note about the Vikings is that Adam Thielen, with Adam Thielen out with COVID, Olabisi Johnson had to step up, and he did so nicely. BC Johnson was targeted 7 times and caught all 7 for 74 yards. So, that's about, 10.01 or 0.2 yards a catch. So that, not incredible, but still, he was a big part in moving that ball downfield to give the Vikings a chance to score. The Panthers, on the other hand, really didn't play that great because on back-to-back drives, the Panthers scooped up a fumble and scored. I think it was Jeremy Chin. He's a rookie. He's the first rookie in NFL history to do it on back-to-back snaps. So of their 27 points, 14 of them came from turnovers, and their other touchdown was a long one from Robbie Anderson pretty much like right away in the game. This Panthers team runs off momentum, okay? And if they can't get any of that, they're lost. The Vikings almost gave away another win, but held on to this one to improve their record to 5-6, when they should probably actually be 6-5, being that Cowboys game was kind of given away. But hey, they're still in the hunt. The Bears just lost to the Packers. They're 5-6 now as well. So we'll see kind of what happens. So let's switch gears to the Chiefs, who played the Buccaneers in what was a pretty good game as well. Okay, Tyreek Hill had had 203 yards, 2 touchdowns in that first quarter on 7 receptions. So I guess it's kind of safe to say that Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill got going, quite early. This actually was a big reason, though, that the Chiefs were able to defeat the Buccaneers, and you could tell the Bucs weren't ready for Tyreek and the speed he brings, because one small step can cause about a 10 to 15 yard separation, and all Mahomes needs to do is just drop the ball in his hands, and then, good luck trying to catch him, because the man, I think anyway, is the fastest fastest player in the NFL. Now, Mahomes, he had a phenomenal game Sunday. He went 37 for 49 with 462 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. I believe he's one of the first quarterbacks out of a group of 5. I want to say it's like Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning and stuff to have, I think it's 4 consecutive games of over 300 yards passing. And so, he also had 3 touchdowns. Again, though, you look on the other side of the ball with Tom. Tom threw 2 interceptions. Okay, and I don't really think it's all his fault. Yeah, it is his fault for making those throws, but I don't think it's all his fault. Last year, as I noted last week, we saw Jameis Winston throw about 30 interceptions under Bruce Arians. The plays that Bruce has drawn up might be a little off, because it seems like the reason there are so many interceptions thrown is when receivers run the wrong route, or when Tom tries to force it, or, they're just not on the same page. And I think that has a lot to do with, what Bruce Arians wants. This Bucs team is good, but when they reach the playoffs, they're going to have a tough time beating the other good teams like the Saints, like the Seahawks and stuff to even get to that Super Bowl. So, we'll see kind of where it goes. The Bucks obviously have a good enough defense to keep them in games, but that offense, they need to figure it out. Like I said last week as well, they have too many weapons, just like the Cleveland Browns did. But the Browns are now 8-3, so it kind of makes me eat my words a little bit, even though they have no David Njoku, no Odell. But this Bucks team has way too many people, and it gives Tom almost too many options, to throw the ball to. So I feel like that's kind of messing with him a little bit. But we're going to see where this season goes from this point. So next, we're going to go to the Denver Broncos, who had an unfortunate loss at quarterback, where all their quarterbacks were deemed high risk when they all forgot to wear their masks. And Denver was stuck with signing a practice squad player, Kendall Hilton, who is a wide receiver, and he now had to play quarterback. So this is all the Broncos' fault. Shame on the Broncos for not being more cautious about this. They're the reasons these guys weren't able to perform. The Saints even got fined and lost the 7th round draft pick because they had a little locker room party afterwards, no masks, and the consequences come. The Broncos, all quarterbacks didn't wear their masks. There's consequences. You're high risk. You can't play now. Now, Kendall Hilton, he did play quarterback in high school, and some in college, but this is the NFL, okay, where the best of the best compete, and it is pretty clear that this guy was just a filler because the Broncos literally had no one else. And I even heard, they tried having one of their staff members actually be the quarterback, but the league wouldn't allow it. Now, Kendall Hilton had a tough time, but I also think Denver didn't allow him to fully showcase his skills, and then just said play it safe, which is understandable, obviously, being that he's never played a snap at quarterback in the NFL or even taken reps with the first team squad. So he went 1 for 9 passing with 13 yards and 2 interceptions. So he literally turned the ball over more times than he completed a pass. But hey, that's what they get for not wearing masks. Consequences are going to come. You pretty much had to drop that L right as soon as all 3 of your quarterbacks weren't wearing their masks, and that's exactly what happened. So next, let's talk about that Bears-Packers game where, it was really clear that the Bears really are nothing special. 41-10 going into the fourth quarter is pure dominance. Rodgers threw all over this Bears defense, and the Bears had absolutely no answer. I promise you, if the Bears don't go out and get a quarterback this offseason, the next 3 to 5 years are going to be straight misery. Okay, Mitchell Trubisky got the start Sunday night and looked awful, and actually looked worse than Nick Foles, where he went 26 for 46, 242 passing yards and 3 touchdowns with 2 picks. This team is in rough shape, okay? And their wide receivers are voicing their opinions on social media. And if the Bears don't talk to the wide receivers and tell them that, hey, we're going to get a quarterback so that you guys can actually get the ball, then we're probably not going to see Allen Robinson or Anthony Miller on the Bears next season. Why would they want to play for something that they know they're not going to win? Okay, the Bears got a real problem. Okay, and we'll probably only win about one more game this season when they played the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 16. So the Bears, their season kind of down the drain. Finally, let's talk about that Monday night game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think it's safe to say that, Carson Wentz is in trouble. Okay, earlier this week, there were reports that Jalen Hurts were taking more first-team reps without Carson in the mix. Now, I did expect to see more of Jalen in this game other than the 2 snaps he took. But at the same time, I understand it completely. Okay, if the Eagles would have won this game, it puts them in first place. So, of course, you're going to go, with the guy that you invested so much in, okay, and make a decision afterwards. Well, last night, the Eagles got handed a loss 23-17, where Carson really, only found his tight ends and could barely get even near the end zone. The Eagles now sit at 3-7-1, okay, which puts them at 3rd in the division behind the Giants, who are 1st, then the Washington football team, who are 2nd, and we got the Cowboys that are last at I think it's 2-8 it's 3-8. So, in my eyes, I think it's kind of safe to say, or a safe bet to say, that we're going to see more of Jalen Hurts in the upcoming weeks. If you're the Eagles, you got to see what Jalen Hurts is capable of, because there's a reason they drafted him in the 2nd round. What's the plan? Okay, the Eagles' next 3 games are the Packers, Saints, and Cardinals. So these are not easy matchups by any means, which also leads me to think that they're going to stick it out with Carson and evaluate him at the end of the season. However, I think it's time. We got to see some of Jalen Hurts and what he's capable of doing, because you never know if he could turn out to be a diamond in the rough. So, I mean, the Eagles have a tough choice here. I'd obviously probably stick with Carson as the starter, but I'd mix in Jalen Hurts there every once in a while. Like, give him more snaps. Give him 10, 15 snaps. Give him 20 snaps. Something. Do something with him to see what he has and see what you have before going forward. Well, that's going to end our discussion today, as now we wait for the Ravens to take on that Steelers tomorrow, in which the Steelers, I think, should easily walk away with a victory. Probably not easily. It's going to be a tough battle, but I think the Steelers are going to walk away with this one just because of how many players have tested positive for COVID-19 on that Ravens team. So it's just going to be a rough one, and it sucks that it has to be a division game, but it is what it is. Got to be safer. Anyways, though, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you. I'm thinking we're going to see you guys probably on Thursday, just because we're going to wait till after that game to kind of give you guys, where we're going to talk about that Ravens-Steelers game, and then I'll give you my top 10 and my power rankings. So we'll see you on Thursday, and you just got your fix with the Wicks.